Hey, collective. We have the swan tonight as our significator, and I actually shuffled this one out yesterday when I was meditating, getting ready for reading and whatnot. Um, but I was still really sad about Ozzy. I just didn't have it in me. It was like one of those nights, like you sit down to do your thing and whatnot, and you're just like, can't. I don't have it in me. So, R.I.P. Prince of Darkness. We'll miss you. Gone but not forgotten. But the message that was coming through with this, like the imagery here on the card, is duality, which is very synchronous with something that is going on in my personal life right now. So we're all in this collective together. So I want to see what's going on either side. Like, what is that dual nature about us that's going to be revealed? Because swans, they're pretty tough. Like, they're very graceful and beautiful, and unless you've met one, they have quite the temper. Ooh, and two came out, so I'm taking that as both sides. So, vulture in reverse on the right, and dragon on the left. So, I take that as more the mystical and the mundane from left to right. You can take that as feminine and masculine as well. But vulture being in reverse, in that more material realm, I wonder if kind of flipping that nature on its head about what you would expect from a vulture to be like very opportunistic, scavenger, so on and so forth. Maybe you're discovering something new that vultures are picky, that maybe you have preferences where you didn't feel like you had them before. But let's see. We'll start here with the swan, kind of get into the core issue of what might be going on. And I've got the Ogham and Runes out tonight, the Norse runes. So, first one for the swan. What's going on? I'm a poet and didn't even know it. Oh, let's see. And Ozzy had a kind of a dual nature too. And at the same time, he didn't. Like, he's somebody that found his way after losing it. And that could be the larger overall theme of you were living your life one way and now something major has changed. Is that aggression that we were talking about in reference to the swan? That's in regards to their kids, their babies. That's why they get so, or that's what will get them so wound up to chase people down. Um, so maybe you're being protective around something, and this is door, oak. I think this is an oak tree. Let's see. Yeah, it's oak. Strength, safety, flexibility, endurance, wisdom, sacred places, leadership, and kindness. Oaks are considered sacred protectors. They are perfect for meditating or seeking power and safety underneath. If you catch an oak leaf before it touches the ground, you will have perfect health during cold winter months. It is also representative of the Oak King, who marks the beginning and the climax of the summer solstice, which wasn't all that long ago. Filming this in July, so it was about a month ago. So that is that protection. What are we protecting? Or why? Because it's almost like we have to put up a front. Kind of like what swans do, but they're not putting up a front. It's just another aspect of their nature. So what are we protecting from? Or what are we protecting? Oh, hey, a little baby. Very synchronous. Birch tree. I think this one's pronounced Beth. I could very well be wrong. We're working on our pronunciations together of runes and Ogham. But birch, that's springtime and the feminine energy like it's showing in here, but the same for Birkenau. That inflection was weird. Or the emphasis on the wrong syllable. Um, but in the Norse runes, Birkenau is a birch tree. That's what it's represented by. It looks like a bee. And that's that like earth mother energy. And certainly doesn't need to be literal. Don't want to give anybody a fright. uh, this could be something you're working on, like a creative project. Maybe you've been trying to monetize something and you're trying to let it grow in the dark, like let it develop like a photo. And it could also, if you're family planning, it could be literal. I've read on many a am I the a-hole stories on Reddit about new parents dealing with the grandparents of the new baby, of having to set boundaries of they're not vaccinated yet. You need to wait. Or I don't really know how early babies get vaccinations, but it could even be the adults that aren't vaccinated. Or I think those first 6 weeks are pretty much like you're bubbling as if it were pandemic era. So something in your life that's trying to get a bit too close, sticking their nose where it doesn't belong, and you could be becoming very protective. One more. What else do we need to know? It feels like they want to flip, but not quite there. Maybe I need a different deck. Give that a rest for a second. A little more clarification on what's the context here? What is this about? What are we protecting? Inspiration. Mercury in Pisces. So protecting your ideas. If it's like a creative project, maybe looking at something like how to watermark things that you're putting out on Instagram or wherever. Because I know like meme culture is a lawless wasteland, and We're taking screenshots of stolen upon stolen upon stolen memes. So watermarks towards the center of the material where it won't be cut out just to protect your work. So that could also be, it doesn't need to be that specific example, but just evaluating your protection measures for something that truly belongs to you. And that could also mean just validating the boundaries that you presently have. They don't necessarily need to change, but maybe it's a good time for a, like a security checkup, like with the antivirus softwares and stuff, or like do this, and this, these recommendations. But what do we need boundaries about? Like, what is this inspiration? Felt a little flippy. Tell me more. Order and practicality. Oh, two moon cards. So moon in, that looks like Capricorn. Is that right? I think so. And moon in Virgo. Yeah, that's 10, so that's definitely Capricorn. Inspiration around practicality and order. So another example outside of a creative project, maybe you have some sort of process that you've come up with. Your 11 herbs and spices. Like, keep that to yourself. That's yours. And maybe even handling it in such a way like how the 11 herbs and spices are. Like, there are 11, yes. And that is all the information you get. It's like keeping things surface level. Don't offer information, is what I'm getting. Like, it's really easy to get excited about like new creative projects and whatever it is you're working on. But if that project maybe isn't ready to be seen or just needs a little more time, under the soil before it starts to sprout. Because you'd be surprised, like working on like a passion project or something creative, just how much energetic interference you can get from your social circle. But let's get some cards for the dragon, the mystical side. Tell me more. Because dragons are very, very mystical, very powerful protectors, too. That felt flippy. Court, apple tree, but it's in reverse. Oh, this is making me think of like a dragon sitting on its hoard. So maybe this is cautionary that this side over here is or could be the dysfunctional expression of the balanced approach of surface level information. Like, I've got an elevator pitch about my creative project, but I'm not going to tell you what tools I'm using or what tools I had to make myself, like custom for this project or whatever. And this could also be an external force to you. Someone's trying to get in on your abundance, but that could interfere with it. It's like vetting any sort of business partner or something like that really thoroughly. That if they come in all, gung ho, super excited to get this started, like, do you have any business experience? Like, what is your background? And particularly if this is someone in your social circle, they might take that really personally. Like, oh, you don't want to work with me? No. That doesn't really go that great all the time, most of the time. Not always, but just generally speaking, I don't know. I like to keep things separate. That's just my preference. Let's get another one. Tell me more. That almost fell out of my hand. We've got Othala reversed and Perthrow. So Perthrow is fate and discovery, and this is like the dice cup for the dice game. I have no idea what any dice games are called, actually. And Othala is inheritance and material goods. Rune of the ancestor, and it's in reverse. And that doesn't have to necessarily be a literal inheritance. It could have something to do with your ancestry. Like I have a Celtic ancestry, Scottish and Irish, very known for poetry, being connected to the other world, like having that intuition, having a temper. That's not wrong. uh, Thick head, yeah, got one of them. So it could be looking at the shadow aspects of maybe even not necessarily your individual ancestry, but the stereotypes around your ancestry. Like we're known as drinkers. I don't drink. It just is not a good choice for me health wise. Um, the Lord's lettuce, on the other hand, that's a different story. Maybe you're changing your perception about the past. Maybe not necessarily changing your stance on it, but being able to see where the other side of the table was coming from and not making excuses for it. Because that enabling behavior can definitely get in the way of abundance, prosperity, so on and so forth. Because if you're very giving, what is the quote I'm trying to think of? Givers have to have boundaries because takers don't. There we go. And maybe somebody wants you to gamble on them, and maybe you're not in a position to do that, or you just plain don't want to, which is totally fine. So what else about the dragon? What could throw this out of whack here? Throw off the flow. Well, that flipped right as I said that. Caution, Mercury in Virgo. And there's a lot of little deer here. And the queen, I don't know if you can see the expression on her face, but kind of like worried. And she's got her hand up, like, hang on. So maybe this is people. Oh, people. I was going to say person, but people coming in and they want something because your dice game, maybe it went well. And somebody got wind of that and is now viewing you like a dragon sitting on a hoard and is like, well, I need this, I need that. And maybe it's someone from your past that could be leaning in on, but we're family, like something like that. And I think an important phrase here is the full phrase of blood is thicker than water. The blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb, is the whole sentence. That's a little important. So I think that's the cautionary tale on the left here. And another imbalance of maybe if you get really excited and you do potentially blab to the wrong person or something like that, or just someone that maybe even doesn't have malintention towards you. Maybe they are also excited for you, but they get excited and then someone you didn't want in your business is now in your business, like the telephone game or whatever. But let's see about vulture, because this feels more positive, because vultures are not generally seen in a very positive light, while dragons are. Like, there's a moral quality, or there's an aesthetic quality to morality. There we go. Can't remember where I heard that quote or read it. It was probably on Instagram somewhere. What's going on with vulture? They're vultures in your orbit. Need a little bit of an anchor into this. What flipped? Oh, Birkenau. What we were talking about. Birch. The beginning. Spring. I could take that as timing, as a metaphor. It's the beginning of something new. And I wonder if you're beginning something new, maybe to continue on with that like telephone analogy, maybe somebody knows about that and is just like waiting in the wings to see if it blossoms, turns into a hoard of gold for you. What is beginning? What are we starting? Or what beginning is seeking us? Oh, there we go. And I think this is pronounced Elhaz. No, it looks like algaes. The elk. So this is protection. So a lot of protection energy coming through. Moon. This talks about the dangers of excess imbibing. So that could be a result of a hoard of gold and jewels and so forth. Maybe this is something you didn't previously have access to, and then you get it, and there's maybe some issues with managing it. Poor people problems. I totally get it. I have poor people money habits too. So, and interesting that we now have Birkenau in, I cannot get that emphasis correct, but in the reverse. So, a choice point. This is this is really where your influence is. So this could be things that already have transpired, and this is upcoming. This is the next choice point. About what? What is what are we determining? Nope, nope. Almost. What's the choice? Rebellion. Mars in Aquarius, a very rebellious energy. I'm actually going to get another clarifier on that. Because you could be rebelling against past habits, like if you've got poor money management skills. And I say that with love. Like that, one of the things that's gotten me to overspend is an expectation that I will be without, of regardless of how stable my income is, it never feels stable. So I'm always ready to suddenly have no access to money for like a month. That's led to some poor spending choices. Choice card. Mars in Libra and empathy. Moon in Pisces. So you're going to have a choice. And I don't necessarily think that choice is between empathy and rebellion. I wonder if it's the choice to empathize or not. And if someone's done you wrong, it can be really, really difficult to empathize with the other side of the table, especially if you've had really significant, serious, negative impacts from that. But taking some time to reflect here, like we've got that reflection in the swan imagery, on what would it take in my life to happen to me to become the villain, to really be tipped over the edge of now making choices that don't represent who you are or what you truly want, but you were met with a moment of desperation, of anger, of despair, something like that. So being able to put yourself in those other shoes and maybe rebelling against an urge in yourself to make excuses for that, to enable that behavior. It's empathy is a way to move towards acceptance in your own choices and circumstances and getting closer to radical acceptance of, no, this isn't right, and I understand what brought it to be, you know? Because all of us have a past. And all of us have done things that we're not proud of. And you're proud of every single thing you've ever done. Are you really like learning and growing, changing as a person, evolving? I think not. I'm no expert, but that choice could be the difference in how this new beginning goes, of how smooth it is, how rocky it is. Might want to consider some things from the past of maybe you did get a little overexcited and tell people about your little seedlings under the soil before they had broke ground, and then your apple tree never came to be, and it was a disappointment. Maybe you were embarrassed. So holding space, having empathy for yourself, of also having to be maybe in survival mode for a really long time, and understanding that like poor spending habits are a reflection of systemic failures, not personal ones. And you do deserve a little treat, maybe even a big treat, depending on how big your hoard is. It just, don't forget about what a boon that could be to help get you out of survival mode. And you deserve a reward. Like, there's so much temptation in myself to just fix everything and then I'll do the reward. Try the reward first, flip the swan the other way around. Change that image around, that expectation. Rebel against the perfectionist, the people pleaser stuff. But let's get a song. And actually, since we've got this duality theme, I want to get one of each song and a book or a video game or something. What's the song? Oh, there we go. Hedonist, Bad Omens. Ooh, and we've got an activity: seasonal fruit and cheese. I feel like I said that weird. Seasonal. Um, Not all too long ago, I had watermelon with cucumber, feta, and tahine. That was good. And I also have I have a couple of Bosque pears and some ricotta. Those are probably pretty ripe by now. I need to eat those. Breakfast. And one more. What do we got? What do we got? Oh, two more. Yeah, I'm just gonna take the bottom one actually because there's three. Legends and lattes. This is such a feel good, like cozy fantasy. Um, I can't remember the author's name. Travis something. Um, it's about an orc who retires from orking and opens a coffee shop. So this is like, you wonder what everybody did after Lord of the Rings and, opening up Starbucks in Middle Earth. So a few different things to maybe help balance out the energy. It's so nice out with summer. Really good opportunity to have maybe even a picnic. Nice picnic outside, get a little sunshine, get some fresh air. Hedonist, take that for what you will. And maybe bring a book with you to your little picnic. But overall, I hope this helps. I hope this resonates. And if it doesn't, I hope the next one does. Thank you so much.